She was like, what are you talking about? You've had sex? I was like, I haven't. She was like, you have? I know you have. I was like, what are you talking about? She was like, well, what happened that night when I picked you up for that house party at 4 o'clock in the morning? You said it was the best night you'd ever had in your entire life. I was like, Mum, that was the first time I ever had stuffed crust pizza.
The reason I never get sad after I get broken up with, and I never get sad when I'm single, is because I came of age at a very specific time in history. I came of age in the late 90s, early 2000s, at the peak of hoe culture. I was raised by women like Samantha Jones from Sex and the City, like Nessa from Gavin and Stacey. When I was a little girl, I wanted to grow up to become Stifler's mom.
I spent so much time on Gwyneth Paltrow's Instagram and on her website Goop that now my Instagram algorithms have gone up the spout. They're completely batshit now. The adverts I'm getting are completely crazy. I got an advert not that long ago for a deodorant for your vulva. Yeah, they didn't have the decency to call it a vulvodorant. Absolutely livid. That wasn't the worst thing about it. The craziest thing about it was that it was an aerosol. Who in their right mind is aerosoling their vag? I mean, a roll-on, sure, we could all lean into that.
I was standing outside my show last week and there was a queue of people waiting to see me, and one of them was this girl was wearing a jumper saying Harvard. And I was like, oh no, I don't know, people that went to Harvard are going to be for me. And so I said to her, did you go to Harvard? And she said no, and I thought, phew, because people that go to Harvard, I don't think they're my crowd, but people that buy a jumper for $7.99 from H&M that says Harvard, they're my people. Okay.
This one says, swipes right immediately. This is a meme about how the police fuck dogs. Is that not what it implies? They posted it, not me.
So I says I was bi properly, and this time I did it during a stand-up set on telly. And as I said it, I felt sick. I felt like really nervous about saying it. But everyone started clapping me for being a brave girl. They were very woke and progressive. And I was thinking, stop clapping me for being brave. Fuck off, man. It's only half gay, so it's only half brave. I was thinking everyone I went to school with is going to see this on telly and slag me off and say, she's just doing this because it's the easiest way of being a woke hipster. It's easier than becoming a vegan, and I'm a vegetarian, which is the bisexuality of diets.
Don't be offended by a stand-up comedian. Are you mad? No one should be offended by anything a stand-up comedian does. We're completely unimportant. I tell you what you should be offended about. Be offended by food banks, yeah? Be offended by the fact that there's private companies pumping sewage into our waters. Be offended by the fact that we have a government that thinks it's acceptable to send refugees to Rwanda. Be offended by that. Don't be offended by some... Do you know what I mean? Don't be offended by some middle-aged lesbian moaning about her children on stage, you bellend!
I went to this dinner party recently, and it was full of all these really smart people. And everyone was asking the smart people questions. Someone was asking about climate change and dark matter, and I was pretending to listen. And then it got to me, and they were like, Harriet, do you have any questions you've always wanted to know the answer to? And I was like, yeah, this is my moment. And I was like, okay, if sperm can swim, why doesn't cum move? Yeah, gotta use your brains for this one, everybody. Yeah. So you see it on TV and it's like, woo! And then it comes out and it's like, splat. What is it doing behind our backs? Right, we've all seen the film Flubber. If you haven't, what are you doing here? It's a classic.
The crown jewel of my chaotic post-breakup behavior was without a doubt the day I got broken up with. And that same day I got broken up with, I immediately applied to be on The Bachelorette. Do you guys know The Bachelorette? It's like a long tradition. It's a woman in a long dress. She lives in a house with a bunch of men. I think the first Bachelorette was Snow White. The Bachelorette is an American TV show institution. It's reality television heaven, okay? I've always wanted to be the Bachelorette. She's amazing, right? She's there in a long dress with 20 men. Every week she votes a man off until there's 3 Republicans or farmers. And then because it's a very heteronormative show, she has all 3 men propose to her, and the one that she chooses, contractually, inevitably, 3 to 6 weeks later, comes out as gay.
I made so many mistakes. Initially, I told everyone I was bisexual. Then I learned about pansexuality. Thought that much better describes me, but I identified as pansexual on Radio 4's Now show, and Twitter lit up. And let me know that I had single-handedly erased bisexuality. Oh, no. I didn't know I could do that all by myself. I don't know if you've ever felt simultaneous sadness, shame, and incredible power. It's confusing, and frankly, enough to put you off. I was like, oh God, I can't be arsed with this. Don't involve me in your argument I didn't even know existed. I can't join in with a war I didn't even know was there. Oh, I can't be bothered with this. I'm not going to have a sexuality then. I'm just not going to have a sexuality identity. I'm going to be one of those people that refuses to talk about it. I'm just going to say it's none of your business. I'm just going to Cliff Richard this shit.
I was dating a lot when I was there. German girls were far more practical than I expected. This one girl, we got together towards the beginning of winter, and she broke up with me towards the beginning of summer. It turns out she was just in it for the body heat. That's not even the worst one. This other girl, she was real smart. She was getting doing her PhD at the time, writing her thesis. I used to like her a lot. She used to ask very interesting, insightful questions about Sri Lanka, about my culture, about where I'm from. It made me feel very special until I found out she was writing her thesis in South Asian studies. And I found it. I found it, and I read it, and everything I said was referenced to native number 4. How many? How many innocent ethnic men had this this?
Like, honestly, I knew nothing about fertility going in. Nothing at all. And I think it's because, like a lot of dudes, I got my entire sexual education from a PE teacher and a priest. 2 separate guys. Relax, it's okay. It's just that neither of those jobs requires an understanding of science. You know, like, why did we pick them to teach kids about sex? They don't seem to have the knowledge. Think about it. It's one guy who has never had sex in his life. And a priest, right? What?
I was having sex with somebody. I'm not going to timestamp it. I will tell you that she was an absolute unit. Which is one of the things I like most about me, is I don't have a type. I haven't been inculcated by magazine beauty standards. I like bits everywhere, bits nowhere. Yes, please. Just, it's all pretty much fantastic. So let's, you know? I'm like an Elizabethan theatre goer. I might watch a matinee of Tamburlaine the Great by Christopher Marlowe. And then in the evening, I'll go and watch a bear fight 3 dogs. And I'll enjoy them both equally.
They're so cool in terms of seeing sexuality as a spectrum, and I think it's great. And I says to my wee boyfriend, now people view it this way. Could you be anywhere else on the Kinsey scale of sexuality? And he answered really earnestly. He was like, I've thought about it, but I honestly don't think I want to suck a dick. I was like, Connor, no one likes to suck a dick. It's just a polite thing to do.
I was being cornered by Dr. Sigmund Freud at a house party. 2 o'clock in the morning in the kitchen next to the microwave. He's just sitting there with his wee tiny glasses on, his big moustache, going, you wanna suck your daddy's dick? You're like, phone this guy a taxi, man. He's ruining the vibe. The guy needs a glass of water, man, you know? Yeah, I'm not a big cocaine person. Not a big cocaine person.
At the heart of the climate change movement, especially its extremes, it does seem to be a denial of something very essentially human, you know? And I don't know how much freedom we should curtail to save a planet that's as mortal as us, you know? No matter how many bamboo straws we use, at some point the sun's going to explode. Comedy.